fine. Let's. So today we will just complete our prototype. What things are there in prototype? What you should answer? What you should prepare? Okay. Now, so prototype is the most what do we say tricky part, and it's very hard to explain because we do obviously definition is there, but it's a little bit hard for us to understand. So if it is hard for us to understand, it is obviously like that, vice versa. Also, it is hard to explain it also. We in the back of the mind, we know like what is prototype, how it is works. Those who have prepared, they might know like this is the. But when it comes to answer, it is something difficult. Okay. A definition, what I tell is like a prototype is a mechanism in a JavaScript by which we can access properties or even let's say methods also from an object. Or another way is like by using prototype, which can by using prototype, we can inherit properties and the method from the object. Okay. So this is the definition I normally explain. Someone else might have something else like whenever you create an object, whenever you create any variable, either it is string, number, Boolean array, JavaScript engine will add some default properties or something to that particular variable. So that is also nothing but prototype, but it's a form of prototype. That definition is also correct. Okay. We will just start with very basic thing. Then we will see some variations or the interview question what normally get asked. Now, I will create a normal function. Function print detail. Now in this function, I'm going to have a parameter, let's say name. Now here I'm going to say this dot, let's say vehicle name is equal to name. Whatever the parameter name I got, that I'm going to store into this variable. Okay. Now, so we created a function that has a parameter and we have the, whatever the value we get that we are storing into the this context with this variable name. Vehicle name. Okay. Now we created this function. In this function, we don't have any another function inside it, but I need to inject one more function into it. Means the function which I created over here, now the behavior or whatever we have it in the inside this function, I need to extend it. That is nothing but inheritance. Whatever we have in the parent class, we inherit it in the child class. That's the definition we get to know from either whatever the technology, backend technology, or the C, C++, whatever you have learned, right? So similar kind of thing, we have to do it over here. Okay. So what we can do, as I said, everything, whatever you create in JavaScript has a prototype. So this is nothing but a prototype. So sorry, this is the function, right? So function has also has the prototype. So what I can do, my function name dot prototype. See, it is coming. It's not like something intelligence. It is properly coming prototype dot. Now in this function, I'm going to create one more method. Okay. So that method name, let's say print name or something is equal to, we are going to store a function. Now, inside this function, what we are going to do, let's simply print console.log. What I will use, let's say vehicle name plus, then what I will use this context dot my vehicle name, the variable name which I have created over here. Okay. Now, so what we did, we inherited or we have created one more function into this parent function. Okay. Now, when I have to create instance of this particular function by using new operator, so what I can do, constant, let's say car obj is equal, not obj, just a car. Then it will be confusing. New. Now I want to invoke this function. Okay, like this, and we will pass value because this function has a parameter. So we have to pass the value of that, right? So let's say Maruti. Okay. Now we have invoked this particular function with the parameter name. Now this car dot, while creating function, we didn't add any property, but by using the prototype, we have injected one more function into it. So now this function, I can use it over here. Okay, let's run this page. So on console. Now here you can say vehicle name Maruti got printed. Okay. So this is very basic example of prototype. Means, as I said the definition. What is prototype? Prototype is a mechanism by which we can access or inherit the properties from your parent, not just the parent, from your object. Okay. Either object can be your class or your function, or even a simple, what do we say, normal object we create. Either it is a, just a minute. Either it is a normal function, either it is a class, or it's a normal object. Okay. So we can inherit or we can inject some properties also to that, whatever we created. In this example, we created a function, and after creating of the function by using the prototype, we have added one more property to this function. So this is prototype. Means accessing prototype is something, let's say, a parent or something which is derived from a backbone, right? And we are getting an access of that, and we are providing some values to that. It's like we created a function, but while creating, we didn't add any function, but we injected one more function into it. Clear? So this is a basic of prototype. We created a function and we added one more property to that function by using prototype. Okay. Let's see one more. Let me just comment this. This is a very famous one. You might have also seen. Function. Let's say I'm creating a function with animal name. Okay. So this will have a parameter, let's say name of the animal. That name I will be printing it over here. This dot name is equal to name. Whatever the name we get, that we are printing it over here. Now in this function, I need to insert two more functions. So what I can do, let's make it capital because we are using it as a, by using the new operator, just like a class. So animal dot prototype. Now in my animal function, I'm adding two more properties. Let's say first function, we will say speak, and the two function we will add speak function, round bracket, curly bracket, enter. Now inside this, we will just use console.log. Okay. So we can say here, whatever the name is there, uh, makes a sound something. We just need to make logic can be anything. Okay. So let's say over here, first we will access this dot animal name speaks something. Okay. Then one more method I'm going to create, animal dot prototype dot it. Now see, in the above example, we created function. When we added one more function to it, that doesn't have a parameter. Same thing we have done it over here also. We have created speak function, but we didn't have any parameter. Now we are going to create a function which will have a parameter. So function, round bracket, item or food. Okay. Now console.log. Again, we will add, use our this property, this dot animal, plus we will say it's plus whatever the parameter name we get, that we will access over here. So see, we had an animal function. After that, we have injected two more function into it, speak and the it. And in both the function, we are using the same property which we created. Here we have speaks, and here we are passing a parameter that should print it. Now constant, let's say dog is equal to, or here now instead of speak, let's say makes a sound as, and here also we will add a parameter sound and plus concatenation. So let's say now new animal. Okay. Now here we are going to pass the name. Okay. Let's say dog. Okay. Now we have created instance of our normal animal function. Now dog, whatever the things we have in animal function get stored over here. Now dog has two functions. Speak. Now why in speak method also need a parameter. Let's say barks. Okay. Then dog dot second method it. Okay. Bones. If I save, okay. So see, dog, we forgot to add a space over here. So see, dog make a sound barks and dog eats bones. Okay. So what we did earlier, just here we have done the variation by adding a parameter. Clear? So this is prototype, very basic one. Okay. Again, we will go ahead. Now, how do we do the prototype thing with the object? Okay. Now this you might have seen. We create an object where let's say student. Okay. Inside student, let's say we have name property, city. Okay. Now inside this function, I'm going to have one method also, print name. Function. Okay. Now here console.log, I will be accessing, let's say name is colon. After that, this dot name. It's a normal function. So we have access to the this, and we are currently, this is inside the object. So this will point to this object, this dot name, and let's just print this dot name only. Okay. So see, we have created an object. In that object, we have two properties and a function. Now we have an object where we have some method which is using this context, and it is if we pass the name property, it will print it also. Okay. Now I need to inherit whatever the function I have it over here into another object. Okay. So what I can do, let student2. Here I will create just the object. Let's say name is equal to Rahul. Okay. Now let's say in this object also, I need to print, I need a method like this. But we have this method over here, which is associated with the property name. Again, to create the same method in this object also, why can't we use this method in this object? Because again, if we create this particular thing over here, it's like code duplication, right? So we should not repeat our code, whatever the dry principles say, tell us, right? So we created one function in this particular student object. So why can't we use this over here also? So for that, prototype of this, we are going to assign to the prototype of this. Is whatever thing we have done over here that we are going to inherit in this new object which we have created. So here comes the proto property. Okay. So now student2 dot underscore proto underscore is equal to what we are going to assign the student. So this thing proto is like to extract the properties and the method. So proto is kind of, you can say, to check what's the prototype, to read the prototype data, we use this proto property. Okay. So what we are doing, we are assigning prototype of student to the prototype of student2. Now if you see console.log, student2 will have access. Currently it's not showing, but I will be able to access this function also. Because what I done, I have inherited some properties from student into student two. So whatever the whatever the function I have created over, that will be I will be able to access. See, from where it is coming undefined. Line number 50. Line number 50 is undefined. How come? What are we doing wrong? Student two dot print name. What are we doing wrong over here? Let's try to debug. No, it's not something wrong. Rahul is printed, but from where this undefined is coming? Why on the line number? Okay, we are trying to print it. Sorry, it should not in the console log. Now we have console log over here. We are trying to again print it. Output of this is nothing. Na? We are not returning, so it will print undefined. Okay. So see now, we are able to print Rahul. So Rahul is from student 2. So student 2 object is now able to access a method which is declared in our student object. So we have inherited this function into new object. Clear? So this example, like everyone will ask you whenever it comes to the prototype, they will have something similar to either we have taken student example, they will have employee, product, something. But they will ask you the output of this. You will say like in this object, we don't have method, so it might break, but we have assigned, or someone do the vice versa. They will ask you to do the, what the right word, that prototypal inheritance. So this is nothing but that. We are inheriting the method we have declared in student into student two. Okay. So this is, we have done the inheritance with the normal object. Okay. Now, same thing we will try to do with the class. Okay. I have not explained that class, but again, we will have a separate session for class, like what things we do in class. Okay. But just the prototype is going on. So we need to see that class also. Now, how do we create a class? So sorry, export not class. Let's say person. Now here we need an access of constructor. Here we will have name as a parameter. Those who are from the .NET or the Java background, this is like parameterized constructor with a parameter, right? So here, this dot person name is equal to whatever the value we get in the parameter that we will assign to it. Okay. So this is what we have done. We have created a class with constructor. Now, inside this class, we need a method. Okay. Print person name. Okay. Now inside this, we will use console.log and we will simply print person name is, after that curly bracket, and we will use this dot person name over here. Okay. So this is our first class. Now we have to create one more class. Let's say class employee. Okay. Now in this class, as the person, employee is also a person, right? So this method, we have to use it over here also. So this is a class. So how we inherit method declared in a person into employee. So we have to extend. What we are going to extend? Person class into this. Okay. Now over here also we will have a constructor. Now this constructor will have two things, because if we are going to use this method, we need the name also. So person name, and then over here we will have AMP ID. Okay. Now in JavaScript, whenever we are extending or inheriting, so we have to make use of the super keyword. Okay. So, and this particular class has that particular property person name. So that we will pass it over here. Person name, we have to pass it over here, and a local variable of this particular employee class, like this dot employee, or let's go with ID. ID is equal to whatever the ID we get, second parameter. This ID will go over here. Okay. Now in this employee class also, I will have one of his particular method. Let's say print employee ID. And here I will say console.log employee ID colon this dot employee ID. Okay. Now, what we need to do next, we have to create instance of employee class. Okay, so constant Sachin is equal to new employee. I'm creating object of employee class. Okay. Now here we need to pass the person name also and the employee ID also. Sachin Tendulkar and employee ID, let's say ERP-989. Okay. Now Sachin dot Sachin has this method also. See, both the method are coming. This method is from the parent. So first we will print our name, then Sachin dot. We need to print the employee ID's own method of the employee class. So see, person name is Sachin Tendulkar and employee ID is also this. So we are able to use method which was declared in the person class from the employee class. So this is prototypal inheritance in case of class. We are extending the property of this class with another class. Okay, so we have seen object, then function, then object, and then class. Okay, this is very basic of it. Now, another definition. Remember in the start I said, like when we say prototype is just an object which get assigned to every variable we create. Let's say I created a variable first name. Just wait for some time. We will go for question. Let me complete first. Let's say I have Chetan over here. Let's add a debugger. Now see, if I use console first name dot. So here you can see we are getting some method. Blink, bold, caret, fix, lower, normalize, repeat, sir, start with, substring, right? To lower, to uppercase, some method we are getting. So these are the method which will only work on the string data types. So how it is showing this method? Okay. Remember this method in case of first name. Let's create var current date is equal to I'm storing new date. Okay. Reload. Now if I use current name dot, so see all different methods are available over here. Getting it? So that second definition, like whenever you create some variable and you store some data, JavaScript engine will assign some different set of method and properties to the variable according to the data type. In case of date, we got C, get date, full year. In case of string, it was something else. Okay. So how it is happening? So it is happening also because of prototype. What the current date, what type of data you have that belongs to which prototype? Date. It belongs to the date prototype. So it is fetching all the method and the properties from the date prototype, and it is assigning that to your current date variable. Just like that same thing happens with array also. With array, we got filter, find, push, pop. So that is another definition. Like what is prototype? So whenever we create any variable or anything in JavaScript, JavaScript engine will assign some set of functions and methods and the properties to that particular variable or the function. All that happen because of the prototype. What type of data type we have based on that prototype is also there. Whatever the method and properties we have that get assigned to that variable because of the prototype. Okay. Now one more question will be there when prototype questions are going on in interview, they will say like everything we create in JavaScript is an object, or everything in JavaScript is nothing but an object. You might have also heard it, but why it gets said like that? Okay, so see now, we have created string. Let's create array also where city list is equal to no. Okay, so we have string type of data, date, and the city list. Now, how do I check the prototype of this variable? Okay, so first name underscore sorry, dot underscore proto. What's the prototype of first name? String. Okay. Now, if I have to check the prototype of string as well, so again, I will use dot underscore proto underscore. What do we got? Let me expand this. Constructor means it's a object. Prototype of string is object. Okay. Now, let's see that second variable, current date. Current date dot underscore. Why it's not coming? Proto underscore. Okay, this line didn't got executed. That's why it is. Let's do now. See. Okay. So it is belong to the date prototype. Okay. Now, if I check the prototype of that date prototype also, let me copy paste. What do I get? Again, constructor means object. Okay. Now let's try with the array also. Let me clear it. City list dot underscore proto. What do we have got? See. Why it is not showing that array? Normally it shows here somewhere. Okay, so see, this is your array. Okay. And if I check the prototype of array again you got the constructor means object. So that's why it is said like whatever you create, either it is function, variable, class, everything, it will point to the parent prototype that is nothing but your object. So that's why it is said like everything we create in JavaScript is nothing but an object. By checking the prototype of that particular variable, you get to see like this belongs to which, and again that belongs to which. So ultimately it will point to the constructor means object only. This is why they call is like everything whatever we do in or create or declare it belongs to the prototype. Sorry, it's an object. Okay. Now one more theoretical question. Sorry, interview question. Now this is like they won't ask you for if you have experience, let's say up to 4 years, but after that they will ask you this. Now, when we talk about array has some method, push, pop, list, splice, and something. Okay, it has some predefined method. They will ask you, I need to create a own method which will work on array. Just like push, pop, I need to create my own method which will work on my all the array, all the variable wherever I store the array. That method I should be able to use. Means whatever the method you have by default in array, I need to add one more method to it. Okay. So how do we do that? So see, we have to use array prototype, array dot prototype. So we are adding, let's say, to get a last element. So in array, we don't have any by default method which will get you the last element. Yeah, we can write that len -1, but we don't have any direct method in the array to get the last element from the array. So that's what we are going to create. Get last element. Just a minute. Okay. So now function round bracket, curly bracket. Now, those who are from the .NET background, they might, I also don't remember, static method was something was there. We used to create static or something was there. Means if you have to create particular method on particular data type in .NET, in C# also we used to create. I don't remember that, but there we used to access by string property or something like that. So here, being this function you are going to use on the array means city list dot like this you are going to use. Like this you are going to use. Okay. So whatever the data you have it over here, that you are going to access over here in the this context. Okay. So here we will write return this. In this, what you will get? The value you provide over here. So here in this, you will have the array. Now from array, you need to get the last element. So this is, consider this as an array. Square bracket, this dot length, array length, -1. Okay. This is similar to city list, square bracket, city list of length dot -1. Now, constant last element is equal to, we identity debugger. Let's reload. See, I got Nagpur. Let's create another element, another array. Let's say student, stud list, array of object we will store. Name, let's copy paste quickly. I'm not changing city, okay? By the name we will identify. Now I need the last element, okay? So constant, let's print it also. Console.log, my array name, city list, dot get last element. See, last element we got SSVS. Okay. Now you will have a question why we need to do like this. Consider a JavaScript project. Don't consider Angular, React, or anything. Just consider a JavaScript project. Let's say in your whole project, you are going to need some functionality like this. That functionality you are going to, just an example, get last element. Now in array, we don't have a method like that. This is just an example we are doing. But consider some other logic is there. And you are going to need that piece of code to be executed in all your pages. So instead of writing that everywhere, now you have make it available across all the array type of data. Wherever you have array, you can make use of this method. Now the first definition was by using array is a mechanism by which we can inherit properties of the method. Now you, after doing all this, something you will be clear in your mind. So what is actually prototype doing? We can inherit, we can access the properties, whatever we have got, right? Okay. So I don't have that much time now, but we can go with basic if anyone have any question.
Chetan.
Yeah.
In the class above,
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
here, line number 57, you
Mhm.
didn't use the function keyword. That I didn't understand. That
We are
generally,
all, yeah. See, if you are creating a function in the method now, we have to in an object we have to use the function keyword. But it's like from .NET or Java, how do you don't write, no? Right? It's
okay,
just a
okay, okay.
syntax you can say.
Mhm.
Okay,
Fine, fine.
you
Yeah.
don't need that function keyword over here.
And no need
Yeah.
of giving any return type also, right, for the function?
We can return it also if you are going to need it. This
Okay, no,
logic was
generally
we are
like in
just
C
printing.
sharp and Java, we'll use like give return type as well, right,
No,
while
here
writing the
also,
function.
In
if you
PS
need a
functionality
function,
also we write the return
Okay,
type
if
and
we are
no, here also you
returning
need.
nothing, okay, we'll just give return type as void.
No.
But
Okay.
here,
Return type. This we don't have to give. In TypeScript, we
okay.
can give. Here, we cannot. JavaScript doesn't have that.
In TypeScript, we give the return type.
In TypeScript, we have the return
Okay.
type, but in JavaScript, we don't
Okay.
have the return type.
Got it.
Okay.
Last line.
Which last line? Line number?
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Line number 55. You have not declared the person name. Then how you can use this dot person
See.
name?
So this context will belong where you are writing this inside this class. So this will point to this particular class. So inside this, we are creating, it's like creating a variable only. If you are from Java or not, there we used to declare plus variable, then we used to access
Yes.
this. But here,
हाँ.
it's like this will point to this particular object class. So you can directly inject properties over here like this. Okay. Technology to technology, it will little bit different in syntax.
Okay.
There is 64 line. Super 64 line. Super points to the parent class constructor. So their
Yes.
person name is required, and without also it will work. The argument is required.
It will be it will be undefined, na? Because if you are not passing the value, here it expect one value, right? Then person name will be undefined, right?
Okay.
Okay.
Sir,
Anyone?
can we do multiple inheritance using this prototype?
Means multiple, like again you will inherit
Like
one more.
extending, yeah.
Yeah, again. I also didn't try. Might be
Yeah,
possible.
then
I'm not sure.
not sure. Like ES6, they told that only single inheritance is possible, but not sure about that latest.
I also didn't check like that.
Okay.
In ES6, I don't remember we have that. Might be in next version we might have it or not. Up till ES6, this is very normal one. I don't know, like what's the latest version of ES6? 9.20 or
2020,
20? Oh my God.
22, 22.
22. Okay, still we are stuck with ES6 only. But I don't know, major things are not there, na? In after the 6. 6 was the major.
Mhm. Like they provided some support, like workaround of we use access modifier, right? They added some like giving support for other access modifier also in
Okay.
2020.
Mhm.
I didn't go through it, but I just read it somewhere.
Yeah, I will also go through because they might be asking. I don't know. They're asking like apart from ES6, like with what ES6 20, 20, what do we got?
Basically they asked, like in one interview they asked me about how you can implement this prototypical inheritance. I have remember the syntax of this class phase. I explained that, but they were expecting to like this is what you have explained right now, like how you can create using function prototype.
Okay. The first one.
Prototype, yeah.
Yeah, so
they
that's what
they
I
were
covered
expecting this
everything.
one, yeah.
You should be aware about this also, object also.
Although we are not
right?
using this.
Yeah, but to
Yeah,
clear the
still,
interview, we
yeah,
have to do
yeah.
it, right?
Yeah,
Someone told me yesterday for Angular interview, they asked that generate function we have, na? When we write function star. Now we cannot use that, na, in TypeScript.
Yeah, also like basic
Still,
concept
they are asking.
related to JavaScript, like currying
Right.
is this. They are asking.
Currying, generate function.
Oh, एक generic also they are asking.
Generic means?
Type, data type, generics.
Okay, in TypeScript we have.
TypeScript, yeah.
Yeah, that angle bracket T you are saying, no?
Yeah,
Generic
that
type.
is
Yeah. Yes. So when we create our generic service, so there we use type. Okay. So was it helpful?
Yes.
Almost
Yeah,
covered
very much
everything.
helpful. Almost covered everything.
Okay. Like again, one thing I just got in mind, like let's say print name function, we have it over here. Like how do we override this also? Because in C# we can do like from method declare over here, we can change the declaration in the inherited class also. I also need to check that how is it possible or not. Anyone have tried? Means whatever we have written it over here, the declaration of this function, we should change the definition of this function also in the derived class. We can do that in other language, right? Not sure in JavaScript we can do that or not.
Sir,
Okay.
instead of using constructor, is any alternate, sir? I mean, manually creating a constructor for that one.
Means
Is it
manually
possible?
means
I mean, earlier you mentioned that super, right? So instead of super, is it possible to write with, I mean, manually calling the constructor?
okay, manually call the
Is there any
constructor.
way?
So like normal, we use new operator, right? So
No,
this
no,
will
actually,
initiate.
my thought is that so instead of creating all these from line 64 and 65, so instead of extend keyword, so do we separate the um, functions in two ways? I mean, creating one function and calling another function like that. Is it a good
So
practice to
this
mention?
this was that. This was that,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, got it, sir. Sorry.
Okay, so same thing we can do with class, like by using this. Okay, fine. So tomorrow we will see function, just function, because in function also we have so many things, just like we saw currying, that generate, then first class, higher order, again callback function. So many things are there in function, right? So we will see that tomorrow. It will be a small one. Again, like 1 or 2 topic again, we will try to include.
Same timing.
Yeah, same time. Fine. Thanks all. Thanks for joining.